Good evening. Welcome to the Groseal Township Community Recreation Commission meeting, October 25th, 2012, Game 2 of the World Series. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome once again. I need a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or any other such changes? Please, anything going on? Otherwise, I need a motion to approve.
Well, I think I'd like to make a motion that we, on item number 3, the approval of the minutes for September 27th, why don't we postpone those till the meeting of November 29th?
So moved. Second?
Second.
Okay, Ethel? All right. We don't have the approval, or we don't have the minutes completed yet, so we're going to do that next.
That's my fault. Didn't get the disc to Leah in time.
That's fine. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Any other changes, additions, deletions? All right, so I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please.
So moved.
Ann? Second?
Second.
Helena? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Public comment? No public? All right, chairperson's report. Update on the Water's Edge Inline Outdoor Skating Rink. Last month I notified the commission that we raised $29,000. We got a redo on that and gave us an update, and it looks like we're close to $31,000 that we achieved through the community. Thank you, community, very much. And if you'd still like to give to the inline skating rink, outdoor skating rink, please contact Tim Rooney in the Recreation Department. We had CE Rains come by and do the markings for the relocation of the volleyball court. Charlie Campos should be starting in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and that will be complete by 2012 to have that relocation done, so that we can, during our winter months, go with the bids for the concrete and stuff like that and be ready to pour come springtime. Any questions about this, commissioners? All right, that's it. Recreation Director's report, facility update, budget update, and the programs. Tim, what do you got for us tonight?
Okay, I don't know if those attachments ever came through. I tried to send them a couple times.
Yes, I got them.
Okay, we get to the after the busy season, you like to pay credit to not only the volunteer commission, but all the people in the community that help you out throughout the year. And I wanted to share some pictures. This first one is of the marina as you come down West River going north. You see the marina's filled with boats. We have a few more there. We have 64 boats for winter storage.
And quite a few new ones, you said.
Right. And I wanted to thank Bob Lang for another excellent job. The care he takes, the organization, his wife Bobby, who keeps the records up, gets those in a timely effort after each weekend. And, each time they have a big series of boats coming in on land. Move down here a little bit. We're putting the golf course to sleep, and if you notice, the leaves are falling, but there's not too many on the course. Give the staff credit, but also, once again, if you remember a few years ago, we had trouble getting them off, just a struggle financially and help-wise, so I wanted to give the volunteers some credit there. Beautiful view of the bridge, the gateway of Groseal.
Still a lot of leaves on a couple of those trees.
I'm moving around here a little. I thought I had them in order. Is that picture in here? Oh, you see those markings are hard to see on the photo there, the stakes.
Right.
That's the relocation area for the sand volleyball as we make way for the inline skating. And I wanted to thank the Campo brothers, who will be moving in probably 3 to 4 weeks and providing that service free of charge. Several thousands of dollars, so can't thank them enough. Playscape, Ann will probably touch on that more. As we mentioned, TNT, we bartered for some golf rounds. They went in there for a whole day and You can see it's different, but, you know, we'll try to get your opinions later on that, and I know Ann's going to touch on that. Big thank you to the Garden Club. I had the butterfly garden up here, but the Garden Club and the beauty they add to the farm, they're there all year long. You see them around the island, but they've really benefited the farm with programs, and just the gardens are beautiful from beginning to end of warm weather season.
That's Rosie's garden there.
Rosie, yep, Rosie Meyer dedicated to her, and they did a great dedication a few years back. Oops. I guess those.
That's the soccer field.
Did you see the herb? Did I pass? Oh, there it is. Herb garden. That was the close of the season for the herb garden. Eagle Scout recently did another project at the farm. There's Eagle Scout projects all over the farm. Once again, volunteers. Everything I'm mentioning is, go back to the marina, West River Cruising and West River Yacht and Cruising and Sailing Club. Did I say that right, Mike?
West River Yacht and Cruising Club.
Yes, thank you. They help all the time, maintenance, security, just a good group to have. So forgot to mention them. That was my volunteer point on that area.
The volunteers in the golf course, volunteers at the
The marina, volunteers in the athletic areas, golf areas. Eagle Scout recently did this. That looks real nice, the edging of the chicken coop. And then the soccer fields with GISA, been our partner for many years. Right now, Tom Snyder, who's the president, helps me monitor that, helps me schedule those fields. Since we've been cutting it on a regular basis, they're doing the marking, we're doing the cutting. Those fields are really filling in nicely. Credit to Carl Moore, who does it for a very affordable price.
Climb the hill, huh?
What?
You climb the hill?
Climb the hill. Annette said, go out and strengthen your ankles. And I go, what do you mean by that? So that's it. Just saying thank you to everybody that's involved. And how I kind of ended that summary was it was a prelude to another area that we're going to be responsible for. We are right now responsible for it. I've got Brian assigned to make sure trash is picked up and making things that are in order during the week. And that's the Parkway Road ending.
Right, we got to add that to the thing.
Right, and what I'd like to recommend, I'm not giving you any advice, but if you go to Groseal main page, go to departments, go to communications, you'll see Teddy there. Then scroll over to archives, meetings, go down to the first waterfront park meeting. And the first person that comes on, I actually have it here if you want to see it, but we're got to watch the Tigers tonight. Tammy Taylor gives an outstanding presentation of the historical significance of that area. I think later on the Conservancy comes up, but those are two partners I would hope we would engage. And I think there's a lot of history to be preserved there. Okay. And I think it could carry across from the depot right across to the water.
I think it's a great idea. Tim brought this up to me before about that with Conservancy and the Historical Society. Yeah. And it's like all part of what Tim's always done is that you get these groups in there and it gets that ownership and stuff like this, and it really gets that community involvement stuff going, and I think it's a great approach. It always worked for him. Everyone loves him.
So if you scroll down on that communication page, you keep going down, you'll hit, and I'm not going to play it, but.
Oh, I see.
You keep scrolling down, it'll hit to.
This is the Groseal website, and then you go to communications, and it's like got all the past meetings and stuff, the archives.
It's this one right here.
The Waterfront Park Studies.
And Dale gives an intro, and then the first person to come up is Tammy. And I think you'll be amazed by the amount of planning they've had in the hopper for many years and what they want to do with the buildings, how they want to expand the parking to the west.
Well, now that we're all here at full commission meeting, when we talked about that, maybe you can get a hold of Tammy and Doug. Maybe we can, Doug Thiel, we can do a presentation next meeting or something like that, Let them revisit it live with us then, instead of for the board. All right. Any budget updates?
In front of you have, there's two long pages. If you look at the top, it says revenue or rounds. About 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with the supervisor, finance director, township manager, and treasurer. And these figures have gone up a little in the rounds have. So when you see that round sheet, when I get to that, that's gone up a little bit from the one John Fleming printed out for me today. But we're running about 14,000 head. We were about 12,000 head a couple weeks ago. So we're having a much better October. You can see that. Already 2,000 ahead in October alone.
Have you decided to cut and dry date of when you're planning on closing? Are we going to try to milk it to see how we go here, or leave
Well,
it
we're-
for Halloween, or what?
Up and running today. We see the weather coming in. One thing I would like to try, and if you don't want me to do it, is Brian and Debbie offered to sell the range tokens from the restaurant over the weekend because the weather's going to drop. Usually we might get some pass members out, but when it's this cold, this late, people don't like to come out and spend money. But the range sometimes when it's colder is used. So we're going to give them our can of 25 tokens, and they would collect. I mean, it's pretty easily monitored. It's 25 tokens. If they sold them all, it'd be $5 times 25, $125. So we're going to try that for the first time, 9 to 5 in the morning.
Save on labor costs ourselves.
Right. But talking to John and Cheryl, our two key part-time, they said we're just not going to get the traffic. Once it starts getting below 60, it's hit and miss, and we barely cover them in late October.
Today was 80.
Oh, it was beautiful out there today.
But, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Tim, can you just repeat the numbers that you just read? Because remember at Monday night's board meeting, at the budget audit review, they were talking about the numbers from last year and the year before, when golf ran behind budget expectations. And it might be nice just for you to underscore the advances made in this year.
Right. Last year's total golf revenue, 2011, was $107,456.51. Through today, October 25th, it's $121,459. We were thinking maybe $30,000 more after all the rain last year. But once again, looking at the national golf reports, golf is up, but July in a lot of areas it was down with the heat. But I'm not making excuses. We want to do better. If you look at this sheet here, it's kind of that round sheet. If you flip it over, I gave some of my feelings on it by talking to people in the golf area. We think the demographic is shifting from older, stable clientele to younger, more fluid patrons. Our older leagues are starting to drop numbers, and I've talked to our golf pro about improving on that. And he wants to help with the senior men if they don't mind, but I know they run their own thing, and they're reorganizing because Bob Marino's going to be moving out of that lead position, right, Bill?
Yeah.
But I'll talk to you about that. I'm not going
We
to.
have another president.
Okay.
But Tim, I mean, we're relying so much on weather. I mean, there's not much more, that you can do. I mean, you rely on weather. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, it's good that we got 14,000 more.
Right. People are becoming more aware of the water's edge facility being public. It takes 4 or 5 years, and we've been there, 7, and golf didn't become public those first few years. We consider league play vital. We'll work with our PGA Pro to promote and assist. Golfers prefer smaller option passes. You can see that. We just have to build those numbers up where they come and stay competitive with other golf courses, and I think we're trending that way. We still will require league members to purchase an option pass, whether it's 10 or 12, where you can renew your 10, but we need a commitment for those huge blocks of time in the morning. And then that was the update in October that I had for the board. You can see how it went up about almost $2,000.
And so I think it's just really good to show that even golf revenues are fluid. They can go up and down, and not to go too hard because one year was bad.
Yep, and if you look at the rounds again, we're at 8,313, but we do monitor our volunteers, and if you look at that round sheet again, this one here, there was approximately 374 rounds of volunteers for golf. So we're still, with the 2011 picture still having volunteers in that total, we're almost 1,500 ahead, which is good. And I think that shows you that the drop in people becoming more knowledgeable of the layout of, the public course, how we operate. So I think it's trending right.
It's positive. It's positive.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I support the golf and play there a lot. These are great numbers. Do you ever do anything with expenses or costs?
Oh, we constantly were working on.
I mean, I look at revenue, which is great, but I don't see any expenses or costs. I don't want to talk about it, I just want to use
Right. Yep, I can have that.
income statement.
Yeah, I do have that, and I didn't bring it tonight. We are under budget of what we set, but we're also under budget revenue-wise. Darn, I wish I would have brought it. I'll have that for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Tim?
Did you want me to go over the round? This sheet here, I put that in there, that this time last year, if you look, this is what went to the mid-year budget meeting, and prior to setting the budget, you would have 2011 prices and how many rounds or how many passes we sold. So we're estimating after a rainy season where we thought we could improve. Well, we didn't quite get to where we wanted to. It did improve. But looking at the rainiest summer ever, you see how we looked at those numbers and thought, we can move maybe 6, 7 more passes here, maybe this many rounds over there. But that's what that was. And then it set the stage for this year's rates. So you have this year's rounds, this year's revenue, and then last year how we zeroed in on it based on what we did and what we thought we could do with better weather, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, if anybody has any questions, Tim gave us these reports, so.
Well, and I think, Tim, all I was trying to highlight is that you guys are doing a really good job of keeping an eye on the numbers and on running that golf course to ensure that it's there for another year. And that's really the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
You're able to rebound.
Right. In 2004, 2005, that was the last year they headed into the budget season with Water's Edge by itself and Recreation by itself. In 2005, 2006, first year under Rec Department, golf expense was $183,395 going into the golf season. In 2012, 2013, when we budgeted golf, it was $122,565. So there was like a 52% decrease in expenses as we were budgeting. That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
And then overall budget, Pro Shop Golf, Marine and Pool, 2005, 2006, the prior year, Water's Edge Rec divided $632,427. Now, going into the overall golf pool is $475,000, about a 25% decrease in overall budget.
And then our employees, through attrition, how many people we lost. I mean, there's been a lot of.
Right, I have copies if you'd like. 2005, 2006 was the last year you had co-managers, Water's Edge and Recreation. With benefits, one had $109,000, one had $104,000, $67,000 salary, $37,000 in benefits, which includes retirement and all those. So that was a $213,000 total in 2005, 2006. You take the $109,000 out for one manager watching over those areas, because they were separate. From 2006 to 2013, in manager, and you can cut it in half if you want to hire, say the job didn't get done, I got shipped back to rec, and you brought another person for $35 or something like that. But the overall savings, if we would have kept that manager, was $760,000 in management costs, but that was somebody at the top end. Divide it in half, and that would still be over $350,000 plus in savings. Another area, 5 years of secretarial. We had a secretary in rec as we moved to Water's Edge. That was eliminated. Just through that time period was $275,000. So now you're at $1 million. And you can cut it down to 20, you'd still be at $800,000. But then that's a total savings of about $1 million. And then you had some periods there where you didn't have a maintenance supervisor, and you did, and you didn't. That's going to be over $100,000. And then you had one Water's Edge maintenance person, chemical guy, that was never replaced. So you're probably talking $1.2 million in 7 years you guys have saved by trying to run both operations. Have we been top efficiency? I don't know, but we've really tried. So, and I think you see that throughout the township. Over, the board saved over $1.2 million easy. That's conservative. So when you talk about expenses and revenues, the big problem is, it's not a problem. It's beautiful when you come on to Grosse Ile. It's a beautiful facility. But golf has been battling even 5 years before they combined the two operations, since 2000. It's a foot race. Well, right now we're trending 30,000. If we can move maintenance maybe over to DPS and do some work on vehicles during the winter, that might save if they have it in their budget. I'm not saying they will. We're checking into those type of things. But over the overall scheme of things, to battle and get through to the future, I think the Rec Commission's done a wonderful job.
No, you've been very fluid. You've been the one who's been fluid.
But I think it's important to mention that. It's not bragging, but I think we've done a good job. And you'd see that throughout the township.
Yep. All right, Tim, I appreciate it. Any questions for Tim? All right, any old business we have? Any new business? Subcommittee updates, Shelky? Open space and greenways?
The meeting in November perhaps will be changed to the 20th. We're in the middle of the meeting in November will be changed to November 20th, I think. At this point, everything, they're monitoring the various open spaces, and Dump the Junk was a success as far as I know.
Thank you. Any questions for Leah? Moreau, with the golf committee update?
There it is. I don't really have much to add to what Tim just covered, except that I do agree with him. We need to thank all the people who made this happen, from his office all the way to the guys that are cutting grass and digging holes. So thanks to the community and thanks to them for a good year. And we're going to keep it up next year. Thank you.
Any questions for Bill? Moving on to Swales and Marina Committee, please.
Director Rooney's report covered everything at the marina. The revenues are up for the fall. Tim, I would like to see sometime a similar report you do for golf for the marina with income and expenses.
I will have that at next
Thank you.
meeting.
Any questions for Mike? Moving on to Woodward Ryan with the Centennial Farm update.
I have nothing to add. I think we're in the middle of a process right now in signing the new lease, so we'll probably have more to report next meeting.
All right, thank you. Myring in the airport recreation area. Any update, Greg?
Nothing at this time.
Ethel Yops and the senior citizens. Any updates, Ethel?
Yes, sir. Our meetings are still the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 11:15 at the farm with coffee, dessert, and conversation. Our program November the 13th will be Merrill Lynch on senior scams. December the 11th is a skit with Gail and Dee, and January the 8th is Senior Alliance with Elder Law. November the 7th, the Recreation Department 55-plus luncheon is follow through, and the theme changed from golf to hockey. 12:30 at the Centennial Farm, $12. Future luncheons are listed in your channels, and advance reservations are needed. Recreation Office or 675-2364. Cards on the first and third Thursdays at 1 p.m. at the farm, and a blood pressure still the second Tuesday, 10:45 to noon at the farm. So come and join your friends, meet new ones, enjoy, and thank you.
Any questions for Ethel? All right, Conroy Schools and Senior Olympics. He's excused, but he did go to what do you call it? The class. Student council. Student council meeting, and he might have found a young person that would want to attend with us. So he will have update us in November. Okay, Hayner Magron with the Playscape Parkway road ending. Any reports? Ann.
I brought some pictures of that. Oh, do you want to do those for me, Tim?
Yeah.
Why don't we do the Playscape first?
Okay.
TNT Tree Service, Tim let me know TNT Tree Service came to the Playscape, and the guys had been working there, and then I went and talked to them, and they really did a bang-up job cleaning up all that brush. We discussed about the picture at the top. There was all that, like, grapevines. They trimmed all that. They took all that off. You can actually now see the post office if you go back there, and that whole fence had been just covered with grapevines. This was all a lot of brush in there, and they did just a phenomenal job cleaning up the Playscape. Last night, my family and I went to look at the Playscape and to see where it had all been trimmed, and there were 3 families there with kids playing at the Playscape. Good. So that was wonderful. They were enjoying the Playscape, and you can see, yeah, from Tim's pictures, I mean, it's all open, you can see, and then when the police go drive by, either from the bank or whatever, even from the parking lot there, you can see straight in, which is really nice. It's just
Big difference.
cleaned up. It's a huge difference, huge. So that was good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Let's see. And the other thing, the Parkway East River Road, it's a beautiful park. I'm sorry I missed the opening ceremony on Monday. I was at another event. But we stopped there last night to just take a look at it, and it was neat to see because it was busy. My husband and my son and I, Greg, stopped there too. We were probably there for maybe 45 minutes, and there was a constant flow of traffic. Just people coming by bike, walking, by car, and, it's interesting to see, like, the people came with bikes, and, just looking to the future, we'll be needing a bike rack, some definite kind of parking. Because I even had a family said, hey, we live just down the street, but where could you park? We said, well, that's one of the considerations. That's, to be coming down the pike. And I'd also like to say a great thank you to Nicole Hinson, who is a 2011 Grosse Ile High School graduate and a current Henry Ford Community College student. She has personally taken the initiative to just start cleaning up this whole parkway area. She goes down there, she said she enjoys it, it's just a nice place to sit, and she had accumulated, by the time we got there, she had probably a trash can. In fact, Brian and Brian hauled the garbage can down there. We filled it from all the things that she had just plucked from the sand and plucked from the water because she had those, galoshes on. And it was a glass, metal stuff. But she's taken that on just on herself to do this. So I told her we would give you a public thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see. People will definitely need to be careful walking down there because, as was stated before, there is a lot of stuff that just accumulated over the years, either in the sand or in the water. So, know their feet. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Any questions for Ann? Uda?
I'm really thrilled that you did that and that you went down and took the pictures, and I really love the fact that a young person was down there taking ownership in a sense of what was going on. And I think it does bear repeating after what you just said. The intent of the steering committee to put the staircase there was really to open up the site for people to go and see and experience it, but that it is not really yet fit for, like you said, walking barefoot and those kind of things. The priority of the group was to get people down there so they can see it and then generate ideas of what they would like to, how they would like to see it continue in the future. So it's really good that you pointed out that somebody is, that maybe other people should do the same, as go down and pick things up carefully.
Right.
And but that the community is starting to adopt the site. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I would also like to say that staircase was very nice. It was another Eagle project that was done.
All right, thank you.
I just have one quick, Bill, just one quick thing. I was thinking while you were talking, the great ideas that we have and great things that we need to do. I'm going to talk to a couple of my friends who are part of the Boy Scouts, and I think a good Eagle project would be maybe to get, there's many people on the island that have metal detectors, and we could get a whole bunch of them in the Boy Scouts and run those babies up and down the beach, at least to remove the metal. That glass is going to be a different issue, but so I'll talk to them about that and let you know by next month.
It's a good idea.
All right,
Thank you, Bill.
All
I
right.
guess it'll take too long for that to turn into beach glass.
Yeah, not in our lifetime.
Extended public comment? Nope. Individual commissioner comments. Greg, got any additional items you want to talk about? No, sir. Mike?
No, sir.
Helena?
No.
Bill?
Tim, one quick question. Did anybody call and leave you names regarding the kayak work that needs to be done at the water's edge? Anybody volunteer to help me with that?
I haven't heard anybody yet.
Nothing, okay. All right. Thanks.
Leah, any additional comments?
No.
Ann?
No.
Ethel?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank Uta for being our liaison and for all her input and help for all these years for the Recreation Commission, and we're going to miss you, Uta. We really will. And I want to also join Mr. Rooney in thanking all the volunteers who have worked so hard at the golf course and other Recreation Department responsibilities. Hiring all the helpers needed would be impossible, and certificates of recognition and appreciation were given to each person. And Saturday, October the 27th, the 25th annual Hooray for Halloween Costume Parade will line up at the high school at 10:15, and they start the parade at 10:30.
Special event.
And trick-or-treating on Macomb Street is at 11 o'clock to 1 p.m. Island businesses with orange pumpkins in the windows will be handing out treats. And please exercise your privilege to vote November the 6th. Thank you.
Ethel, you do it all.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good comment.
Uta, any additional comments?
Yes, I do have just a couple of comments. And thank you, Ethel. But I also want to thank all of you and all the previous commissioners and staff that I've had the honor and the privilege to work with on this commission. If I've learned anything in all these years at the township, most of it, they always say everything I needed to know I learned from kindergarten. Well, almost everything I needed to learn, I learned from the Recreation Department and the Recreation Commission. Sweat equity, volunteers, commitment, community involvement lead to people taking pride and ownership in our programs and facilities, and make it look like it's so easy to run this department on a shoestring. And yet it's a boatload of sweat equity. But when so many people take part and enjoy being together to do this, it hardly seems like work at all. About the waterfront park, I hope to continue giving my input as a private citizen, but you pointed out the parking situation, and I think one of the virtues or beautiful things about this site is that it is also readily accessible by bike or by walking. And as the Pedestrian and Bike Path Commission is trying to create more and more opportunities for people to walk and bike, this site will be a real magnet. And I think putting up a bike rack is going to be important, but also to keep reminding people, yes, their parking will become an issue. Like Ethel pointed out, there's some people who simply will not be able to bike or walk. But for the most part, at the opening ceremony, I would think there were at least 10 or 15 bicycles standing up top of people who had cycled over, families that had cycled over. I wanted to let you know that on Tuesday night, the Zoning Board of Appeals approved two variances to the West Shore Golf and Country Club and the Grosse Ile Rowing Club, which will enable them to move forward on a site plan and use plan review. West Shore and the Rowing Club have come to an agreement for a long-term lease and a purchase of a small parcel to build a rowing shell storage shed. They still have many hurdles to overcome. They certainly still have to win over the neighborhood, which is concerned about noise. But for the most part, since we are in partnership with the Grosse Ile Rowing Association, I thought it would be nice for you to know that they finally found a place to start working toward a home. And my last thing is for all the merchants and residents on the island taking part in Halloween, remember that there are 12-year-olds who are taller than most adults and still really look forward to going out for Halloween. But, they are not high schoolers in costume. We just have a big crop of 6th and 7th graders this year. So go easy on the tykes. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim, any additional comments?
There you go.
Thank you. April O'Connor, thank you for 15 years of outstanding public service. You are a true friend of public recreation and the people who have chosen to work or volunteer in this important area of community life. On behalf of the Groesville Recreation Department staff, thank you for all your support and understanding. You are a great leader. Thank you.
All right, I was just notified that Groesville Soccer beat Detroit Country Day 3-1, so it's... Luke, I'd like to reiterate, it was a pleasure working with you, learned a lot, you've taught me a lot, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you around, and I'll be calling you up for advice and stuff and how to deal with all these politicians.
And I do sweat equity too, so you need volunteers, you give the O'Connors a call.
You got it, baby. All right, we are going to adjourn now to a closed session for a legal opinion and any questions, center lease negotiations. I don't know if I got to do a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we adjourn to address the legal issues.
Second?
Second.
Helena? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, well, we will adjourn. Thank you very much.
We will keep the cameras running and the room open, right? No? Because we do, we're going to do it in here?